Hey everyone, and welcome. Let's dive right into this explainer and completely demystify what software reliability promises actually mean for your fitness business. If you own or manage a gym, you already know that your software is essentially the central nervous system of your entire operation, right? But when you're shopping around, you get absolutely bombarded with tech jargon and sky-high promises. So today, we're going to strip away all that marketing fluff, we're going to look closely at what these uptime guarantees actually mean in the real world, and give you a rock-solid framework to evaluate the true reliability of any platform out there.
I want you to really picture this for a second. It's 5:50 a.m. The sun isn't even up yet, but your most dedicated members are already arriving for that 6 a.m. class. They step up to the front desk, scan their app, and literally nothing happens. You look at your check-in screen and that little loading icon is just spinning endlessly. The line is now spilling out the door, people are sighing, looking at their watches, and you are completely locked out of your own business. You can't process payments, you can't verify who's there, and you have absolutely no clue when it's coming back online. That right there, that's the visceral, incredibly stressful reality of downtime. It's not just a technical hiccup, it's a direct hit to your members' experience. Look, when you're sitting in a sales demo, everyone is just showing you their highlight reel. But evaluating a true software partner isn't about how pretty the buttons look on a perfect day. It's all about how that company responds when things inevitably break. Because here's the absolute truth about technology: software crashes. Servers have bad days, integrations drift out of sync, and sometimes a bad update just slips past testing. A trustworthy provider actually plans for these bad days. They don't pretend they live in some magical glitch-free utopia.
Which brings us to the most dangerously common marketing hype you'll see out there: the myth of perfection. You've probably seen platforms boldly claiming, "We don't crash, ever." And sure, it sounds incredibly reassuring, but any honest engineer will tell you that never is an impossible standard. When a company pitches a promise that high, they literally have nowhere to go but down. And when a server inevitably does have a rough morning, that illusion of perfection shatters. Perfection just isn't a standard software can guarantee, and honestly, making that claim is a massive red flag. Let's translate that fancy marketing jargon into the cold, hard minutes and hours of allowable chaos you might face in an average month. We constantly hear about 99.99% uptime, but check out the math here. If a provider guarantees 99% uptime, they are legally allowed to be down for over 7 hours a month. That's almost a full working day. Even at 99.9%, you're still looking at nearly 44 minutes of potential outage. And that absolute gold standard, 99.99%, that still means about 4.5 minutes of downtime. These numbers aren't here to excuse outages, but they are a stark reminder that reliability is a measurable engineering target, not a magic spell. To really understand why never is impossible, we gotta look under the hood. A gym management platform isn't just one simple app running on a laptop. It's a massive, highly complex web of interconnected systems. You've got the database holding your records, the application layer itself, external payment processors, which the software company doesn't even own, by the way, notification services, third-party integrations, and the cloud hosting running the whole shebang. A single careless database query or a weird glitch with a payment provider can silently trigger a massive outage, even if the core software is perfectly fine. So here is a crucial takeaway. Repeated downtime is rarely just a streak of bad luck. An outage is usually just the visible symptom of a much deeper, hidden disease. If your software is constantly going down, it usually points to struggling infrastructure that can't handle growth, new features being rushed out way too fast, or a severe lack of quality assurance. The actual outage matters slightly less than what it reveals about how the company operates behind closed doors. And let's be real, while massive, total outages are loud and panic-inducing, they aren't the only problem. The frustrations that really grind gym owners down are those smaller, unaddressed glitches that just slowly compound over time. We're talking about members getting spammed with duplicate text messages, awkward billing edge cases that constantly fail, integrations behaving weirdly, or my personal favorite, support tickets that get marked resolved while you're still staring at the exact same broken screen. On their own, they're annoyances, but together, they silently erode the professional experience you're working so hard to provide. Section 2, redefining true reliability, and our buyer's guide to software demos. Let's get right into it. Now that we actually understand the reality of uptime, how do you protect yourself? First up, you have to contrast the empty verbal promises against verifiable facts. If a sales rep casually throws out a number like 99.99% in a meeting, that means practically nothing. What you absolutely must ask for is a public status page showing the real historical uptime.
A team that is genuinely confident leaves their track record right out in the open. If they're hiding their past outages, you really got to wonder what else they're going to hide once you sign that contract.
This perfectly illustrates the difference between a casual marketing goal and a true binding commitment. Putting "we aim for 99.9% on a website commits a company to absolutely nothing. It's just a wish. What you need is a written service level agreement, or SLA. A contractual SLA defines exactly what happens and what specific response times you are guaranteed the absolute second an emergency strikes. Beyond that SLA, there are a few operational details you simply have to verify. Everyone claims to have industry-leading support, but you need to know how quickly a genuine 6 a.m. panic reaches a real, breathing human being who can actually fix it. You also need to heavily test their billing, not just the easy stuff, but the tricky edge cases like pausing memberships or future start dates. Finally, demand total honesty about data migration. Ask them point-blank what will not transfer over. Fear of a messy migration keeps way too many gym owners trapped in a bad marriage with failing software. This brings us to the ultimate litmus test. How does the company talk about its own failures? A provider that openly shares its incident history, owns up to a server crash, and explains exactly what they learned from it is infinitely more valuable than a company that just promises perfection. A transparent partner treats you like an adult. They know you understand technology isn't flawless, but they respect you enough to keep you in the loop. To wrap this all up, demanding high-quality software that actually works and demanding total transparency during an outage, they aren't competing ideas. They are the exact same standard. You are paying for a premium service, and you are entirely entitled to expect it to work reliably. But you are just as entitled to clear, honest communication on the rare days when it doesn't. So, I'll leave you with this. The next time you're evaluating a platform and they confidently promise you that their screen will never ever go dark, what are you going to do? Will you just accept that impossible standard and stop asking questions? Or will you use these insights to push past the hype, demand the absolute truth, and start asking better ones? Remember, the partner worth having isn't the one promising perfection. It's the one that tells you the truth while the fire is happening and stands right beside you until it's put out. Thanks for joining me on this one. I'll see you next time.